Arsenal Fan TV, guys, a bit more. Well, I was smile on your face. Where's your? Yeah, there it is. There it is.
It was a really good performance, and we finally showed up. But I'd like to say that every season it's the same. So we're like stuck in a rut. So what happens is when the pressure's off, we'll start winning. So like the pressure's not off. Pressure's not.
There
on
was
now.
pressure on today, though. I mean, there's
still,
pressure on in the. I understand what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from with that. But there was pressure on today that they've just lost to Barcelona, and if they lost this game today, that's it. That's it. Whereas last season, it's like, all right, you still got the FA Cup to play for, but today it would have been over. It was a pressure game, especially after what they did to Chelsea last week.
True, but at the end of the day, we're still 11 points behind. That's not pressure. If we were 5 points ahead, can we win here? It would be different. Do you know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is every season we're stuck in that rut. So when we get to like March, February, the pressure's on. So we're in 3 tournaments, and then we'll drop out the tournaments. We'll be left with like 7-8 matches, and we'll win them. And
What's the solution for you then?
Solution is that, okay, I don't like saying it because I'm a big supporter of Arsene Wenger, but I think there does need to be a change now, and he does need to leave. That's not because he's not doing the right things, and I'm not someone who's going to say, oh, spend money, do this, do that. But there needs to be someone who comes with fresh ideas, because right now we're stuck in that mentality. So when we get to January, we don't buy enough players, we don't bring in enough fresh ideas, and then when we get to April, that's it, it's collapse, isn't it? So every season it will be the same. So I don't think he can deliver the league title to us now. So it's
Rob, I think the difference today is that we had actually 10 workhorses on the field today. The Wenger chose the players due to their merit rather than their name. In previous weeks, right, we would have probably played Giroud, Walcott, and these kind of players on today, yeah. And they're just names. That's all they are. I don't care, yeah, if your name is Alexis Sanchez, right? But if Campbell is outperforming you, Campbell should play. Yeah, if Giroud's not up to the boil, Danny Welbeck should play. Do you know what I mean? And it should be all based on merit. Now, all this, like, I want to say something about the Arsene Wenger kind of issues, Wenger in, Wenger out kind of thing. I loved at the end of today's game that at least every Arsenal fan here is united about getting Stan Kroenke out. And I think to get us back to the top, we need footballing men at the top of our level, passionate people at the top of our club. It's not just Arsene Wenger, oh, let's get Arsene Wenger out. Some people were suggesting let's bring Pellegrini in. He's spent like £200-300 million and he's below Arsenal. We need Stan.
Are we looking for a bit of a scapegoat when we talk about Kroenke and the board? They gave him, I remember at the start of last season, they said he's got, I think it was one of the board members came out and said, I've something like £150 million to spend. That's what he said. We've given him £150 million to spend. Even if it was 100 million or if it was 75 million, Arsene Wenger spent 10 million on a goalkeeper and said there was nobody else that he felt. So is that the board at fault or is that the manager?
I think it's the board personally, because I think back in the day...
What more can they do? If they've given him the money,
yeah.
if I was in charge and I said, right, here's the money, you're in charge and you don't spend it, how's that my fault?
Let me say, Rob, because back in the day, there was one man that would pull the transfers together. His name was David Dean, right? David Dean left our club and now it's gone downhill since David Dean left. I've heard if Usmanov comes back into this club, David Dean comes with him. That's 2 footballing men right there. 2 passionate guys that actually give a shit about our club, right? I've even heard Henry might even join them. That's what we want. If you're going to compete with... I mean, how can Arsenal fans be happy, yeah, losing 5-1 in aggregate to Barcelona? I can't take that. I personally can't take that, because Arsenal should go into every single match, right, and expecting a performance. Okay, you know, you have blips in here and there, but some fans were actually happy that, oh, it's only 3-1, you know, we didn't get, you know, that much of an embarrassment done. I think that's absolutely disgusting. We are Arsenal Football Club. We should be at the top, competing at the top. There needs to be footballing men at the top. David Dean should be in charge of the transfers, getting all the best players over. I mean, you're telling me there wasn't a striker available in January, yeah? And I can just say one name, Aubameyang. He scored 3 goals against Tottenham over 2 legs, right? They've embarrassed Tottenham in the Europa League, and you're telling me there's not a striker available. We need someone...
I think all the club needs is a bit more investment, and they're not willing to do that for some reason. So they're willing to accept finishing 3rd or 4th. Why is that? All we need is a bit more investment. So if we had the striker who'd finish off the chances that we've had the whole season, so that's been our biggest problem, just not finishing off chances. if you had just that bit more investment, we could win the league. And then obviously that's bringing in more revenue, isn't it? So if they're going to look at the club like a business model, all they need to do is invest more money. So I think it is the board at fault. The owner, I've never seen him speak. So that's a big problem. So obviously, like today's chant is true.
The owner said it's not about winning titles. What else are you going to expect from this club, man? If he comes out and says he doesn't want titles, you know, we've had it. Even West Ham, right? I've got Karen Brady and these kind of people at the top of their club actually wanting to do better. You know, they're pushing for a new stadium. They're going to probably push for bigger transfers than this. They're actually moving. The thing is direction, Robbie. We need a better, bigger direction.
Today, brilliant all round. And at the end of the game as well, we had a chant that gets to the root cause of the problem and absolutely unites the fan base in Stan Kroenke. And I liked hearing that.